The loneliest people aren't always the ones sitting alone. Sometimes they're the ones surrounded by crowds, wearing expensive suits, signing million-dollar deals while their hearts crumble in silence. Daniel Chen knew this truth intimately as he stood outside Maya's cafe at 6 in the morning, watching her unlock the doors with flour already dusting her worn apron. He'd been coming here for 3 months, always ordering the same black coffee, always sitting in the corner booth where the morning light hit just right. She'd smile, that genuine, unrehearsed smile that seemed to exist only in small towns and independent coffee shops, and he'd feel something he hadn't felt in years. Human. Today was different. Today, his hands trembled as he approached the counter, and the words he'd rehearsed 100 times lodged in his throat like broken glass. "The usual?" Maya asked, her brown eyes crinkling at the corners. She was 26, he'd learned from overheard conversations, working 2 jobs to keep this place afloat after her father's passing. "Actually, Daniel cleared his throat. At 38, he'd negotiated with world leaders, faced down hostile boardrooms, built an empire from nothing. Yet asking this simple favor felt impossible. "I have an unusual request." Maya's smile faltered slightly, her hand pausing over the coffee machine. In that moment, Daniel saw her calculating, wondering if he was about to become another problem in a life that had handed her too many already. "Here's $500, he said quickly, pulling the bills from his wallet. "Will you pretend to be my date for a day?" The cafe went silent. 2 elderly regulars looked up from their newspapers. Maya's expression shifted through surprise, suspicion, and something that might have been pity. "I'm not," she started, her voice tight. "No, God, no. Nothing like that." Daniel held up his hands, the bills fluttering between his fingers. "Tomorrow is my son's 10th birthday. I haven't seen him in 2 years. My ex-wife, she said I could come to his party, but only if I brought someone. She wants to prove I've moved on, that I'm not the workaholic she left." His voice cracked on the last word. "I just want to see my boy blow out his candles." Maya stared at him, really looked at him for the first time beyond the expensive watch and tailored suit. She saw the shadows under his eyes, the way his shoulders curved inward like he was trying to make himself smaller, invisible. She recognized that posture. It was the same one she saw in the mirror every morning. "Keep your money," she said finally. "But I want the truth. All of it." They sat in that corner booth as dawn painted the sky pink and gold, and Daniel Chen, CEO of Chen Technologies, unraveled. He told her about Michael, the son who loved dinosaurs and superhero movies. About the marriage that had dissolved under the weight of 14-hour workdays and business trips. About the moment he'd looked up from his laptop during Christmas dinner and realized everyone had already left the table. About the custody hearing where the judge asked Michael who he wanted to live with, and the boy couldn't even look at him. "I became exactly what I swore I'd never be," Daniel whispered. "My father was never home. I built my company thinking I was giving my family everything, but I was just repeating his mistakes with a bigger bank account." Maya listened, and something shifted in her chest. She judged him, the wealthy customer who probably had everything while she fought to keep the electricity on. But wealth couldn't buy back time. It couldn't erase the look in a child's eyes when they stopped waiting for you to come home. "I'll do it," she said. "But not for money. For Michael." The next afternoon, Maya stood in front of her closet, staring at the single dress that wasn't stained with coffee or flour. Daniel had texted her the address, and Google Maps told her she'd need to drive 45 minutes into the suburbs where houses had circular driveways and doors that cost more than her monthly revenue. She almost backed out 3 times. But then she thought about her own father, who'd worked himself to death trying to save the cafe. She thought about all the moments she wished she could have back, all the conversations left unsaid. Maybe she couldn't save her own story, but she could help salvage someone else's. Daniel picked her up in a car that probably cost more than her cafe was worth, but his hands shook on the steering wheel. "Thank you," he kept saying. "Thank you for this. Tell me about him," Maya said gently. "What makes Michael laugh?" Daniel's face transformed as he talked about his son, the way Michael narrated his life like a nature documentary, his obsession with making up dinosaur facts, his dream of becoming a paleontologist astronaut. By the time they pulled up to the house, Maya felt like she already knew the boy. The party was everything a wealthy 10-year-old's birthday should be: bounce houses, a magician, a cake shaped like a T-Rex. But Michael stood apart from the other children, a small figure in a dinosaur t-shirt, scanning the crowd with old eyes. Then he saw Daniel. Time stopped. The boy's face cycled through emotions too complex for 10 years: hope, hurt, love, anger. Maya felt Daniel tense beside her, ready to flee or fight or crumble. She took his hand. Go, she whispered. Daniel walked toward his son like a man approaching salvation or damnation, unsure which awaited. Hey, buddy. Happy birthday. You came, Michael said, his voice small and wounded. You actually came. I'll always come. I know I haven't before, and I. Daniel knelt down, eye level with his son. I messed up, Michael. I messed up so badly. I thought working hard meant loving you, but I was wrong. I was so wrong. You missed my baseball games. You missed when I learned to ride my bike. You missed everything. Tears streamed down Michael's face, all the accumulated hurt of 2 years pouring out. I know. And I can't get those moments back. But I want to be there for every moment from now on. I quit the board. I stepped down as CEO. Maya's head snapped toward Daniel. He hadn't mentioned this. I'm not asking you to forgive me right away. I'm just asking for a chance to be your dad again. The kind of dad who shows up. Michael looked at Maya, then back at his father. Is she your girlfriend? She's a friend, Daniel said carefully, who reminded me what really matters. The boy studied them both with that unnerving childhood perception that sees through every adult lie. Then, slowly, he reached out and hugged his father. It was tentative, testing, but it was real. Maya turned away, wiping her eyes, only to find Daniel's ex-wife standing beside her. Jessica was elegant and guarded, her expression unreadable. Thank you, Jessica said quietly. I didn't think he'd really change. I thought this was another performance. He loves that boy, Maya replied. Sometimes people just need to hit bottom before they can climb back up. Jessica nodded slowly. He told me he quit. I didn't believe it until I saw him here, on time, present. She paused. This wasn't what I expected when I said he needed to bring someone. I wanted him to prove he'd moved on so I could justify keeping Michael away. But you helped him find what actually mattered. The party continued. Maya watched Daniel play with Michael, really play, getting grass stains on his expensive pants, wearing a ridiculous party hat, laughing with his whole body. The other children gradually pulled Michael away, and the boy went willingly now, occasionally looking back to make sure his father was still there. Daniel always was. As the sun set and the party wound down, Daniel walked Maya to her car. You gave me my son back, he said, his voice thick with emotion. No, Maya corrected. You did that yourself. I just showed up. The cafe, Daniel said suddenly. I looked up the property records. You're 3 months behind on the mortgage. Maya's spine stiffened. I don't need charity. It's not charity. It's gratitude. And maybe it could be a partnership. I'm going to have a lot more free time now. I miss working with my hands, creating something real instead of abstract profit margins. He smiled, almost shy. Would you teach me to make coffee? Maya laughed, surprising herself. The great Daniel Chen wants to be a barista. I want to be present. In life. In moments that matter. Maybe I can start by learning to make a decent cappuccino. 6 months later, the cafe had new equipment and a revised business plan, but it kept its soul. Daniel came in early every morning, learning the rhythm of grinding beans and steaming milk. Michael did his homework at the corner booth after school, occasionally explaining dinosaur facts to delighted customers. Jessica even stopped by sometimes, co-parenting with a grace that came from watching someone truly change. And Maya, who'd spent so long keeping the world at arm's length, protecting herself from further loss, learned that sometimes kindness circles back in unexpected ways. The lonely CEO and the struggling cafe owner became friends, then family, not through romance, but through something deeper, the shared understanding of people who'd learned that wealth is measured in presence, not presents. On Michael's 11th birthday, the party was smaller, just cake at the cafe, flower fights, and terrible coffee puns. But when Maya watched Daniel help his son blow out the candles, both of them laughing, fully present in that perfect moment, she understood something profound. Sometimes salvation comes not from grand gestures or fairy tale endings, but from simply showing up. From choosing, every single day, to be present in the lives that matter most. And sometimes, $500 becomes the most valuable transaction of your life. Not because of what you buy, but because of what it helps you remember about being human.